Hey everybody, welcome to day 31 of the Take Back Your Life video journey, 40 days of thinking right so that we can live right. And we say welcome to you this evening from eastern Montana.
Yeah. Columbus, Montana?
Columbus, Montana. We survived the awful, horrendous, high gusting winds in Wyoming today. It was a scary moment, but we survived and got almost all the way to our journey. We're about 400 miles short.
So, about 25% of the way left.
Yep. So we will be hopefully rolling in there sometime tomorrow and then be ready to enjoy the rest of this year in Kalispell, Montana.
It'll be awesome.
It will be awesome. It's going to be a great time. But we still have some work to do right here with our Take Back Your Life video challenge. Today's day 31. Don't kick the beehive. Our verse for the day is Proverbs chapter 12, verse 18. It says, "There is one who speaks rashly like the thrusts of a sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing." And in talking about don't kick the beehive, we're talking about how we use our words.
Mm-hmm. Not just our words, but our attitude and our tone and the entire delivery, how we choose to present ourselves.
This plays out in families. This plays out in work relationships. This plays out in friendships. This plays out in just about every part of our life. The way that we speak can either build relationships or it can tear them down.
Mm-hmm. In a very short order.
Well, you can tear it down in a short order, that's for sure. Building it up still continues to take much more time.
That's true.
That's pretty typical with most things. If you're building something, it takes a whole lot longer to build it than it does to tear it down.
Mm-hmm.
So, Pastor talks about how he has to control himself in meetings, what the ramifications are whenever things don't go the way that he intended them to. And that's an excuse that we often use, is my intentions. I intended for it to be this way, and yet you took it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And he says in there, our intentions don't matter, our behavior does. And that hits home for somebody like me. I can tend to fly off the handle. I think I've improved in my ability to keep that rambunctious Rockford from coming out. I'm a little more patient these days, but I do still have my limits. And when I reach my limit, it's like a nuclear explosion.
I would agree. You do much better now. Used to, he would just say, and I say it all the time, he was a spewer, so he would say all the words. He just felt like he had to get them out. Didn't matter if they were nice words, mean words, what tone it came out in, they just had to get out of his head. It was like, if they didn't get out of his head, he would explode. And for me, I was a stewer, so I wasn't going to say anything, which, I mean, again, it's the way that you portray yourself, and if you're portraying that silent, maybe it can be seen as superiority, maybe it can be seen as indifference, or not sympathetic. I mean, it's just it comes off probably not the way that you intend for it to come off. I know it wasn't the way I intended for it to come off. My intention was that I was trying to not say things to be hurtful. I was trying to think out what it was that I was going to say. But again, my intentions didn't matter. It was his perception that mattered to him. So, and now we see that much more.
This happens in work relationships a lot as well. There's been plenty of times where I've flown off the handle in a meeting, or maybe in a moment with an individual one-on-one, and I can think of a couple of times off the top of my head that I flew off the handle for whatever reason. I couldn't control what I wanted to say, and I said really rude things at the time, and that relationship suffered. and it took a long time to repair it. So, having control of what it is that we say, keeping rational thoughts in irrational situations is it's an art form, or an art form, I should say. Mm-hmm. Something you have to work at, something you have to practice over and over again. And more than likely, you're never going to be perfect at it, but you got to continue to work to not kick that beehive.
Yeah, because if you get stung, the last thing you want to do is to kick the beehive, because then there's, especially, I'm just going to put this out there, if you're a man and you're kicking the beehive of your wife, chances are she remembers every single issue that you guys have ever had and can recall the dates, times, and things that were going on. So that's kind of what we're talking about whenever we say don't kick the beehive. Don't let this one thing turn into 50 other stings, 50 other, oh yeah, well, you remember this, yeah.
As my friend Kenneth says, you can usually diffuse the situation with a well-placed and well-stated, you're probably right.
You're probably right.
Took me a while to learn how to use that one.
Yep.
So, Pastor has much more to say about the way that rudeness affects those around you as well. There's a study that he talks about in this reading about how a rude interaction between two people affects the people around them. In our questions this evening with the kids, we talked about that as well, and they said that, even in our family dynamic, whenever there's something that's happening here, it certainly affects everybody else. Mm-hmm. So again, it's not just the fact that we lose control or lose our temper with someone or say something we shouldn't say, it's how it affects those around us as well. And if you want to have a thriving business, if you want to have thriving relationships at work, then you have to be mindful of the way that you address those situations and not, again, lose your mind. One of the last thoughts that Pastor brings up is about our impact in the world. We are individually responsible for our impact that we have in the world. And each time that we let the evil Levi out, as Pastor uses for him, it changes the impact that we can have on people because they begin to see us as a different person, right? Mm-hmm. So be mindful of the impact that you're going to have on the people around you and the impact that you're going to have on the world. If you're a follower of Jesus, people are going to go and associate you with that, and you don't want to put a bad name out there.
Day 31 has been a good day. It's been a reminder about how not only our impact is impacting the world, but just even our family and our friends and our businesses. Whenever we choose, because we're choosing to let, did you call yours Rambunctious Rockford?
Rambunctious Rockford.
Or we named mine Angry April or Evil Levi come out. It has huge impact. It is like a drop in the pond and the ripple effect going out, or the butterfly effect. We have no idea what it touches, and we may never know what it touches because people are watching and they are paying attention to your actions and your words all the time, not just when you want them to.
So that's day 31. We'll be back tomorrow with day 32, 4 squares for a better you. I don't know if that's 4 squares like playing the game Foursquare.
We certainly could make it 4 squares playing the game.
I love me some Foursquare.
Mm-hmm. Or 8 square.
Or 8 square, or whatever it's called. I don't know. But anyway, we are a little over, 8 days now? It's 8 days to being done. So I hope that you have been continuing to do the questions at the end of each reading, that you are writing them down in your journal. We haven't mentioned that in a while, but I'm hoping that you're continuing to do that. I hope that you are praying over your word for 2021, and that God is working on something that He's going to reveal to you throughout next year. And we just, I'm sitting on this bed and it's hurting my hands because I'm holding myself up. So, anyway, tomorrow, day 32, we're looking forward to it. You guys have an amazing day. We'll see you tomorrow.